and welcome back to Studio U. Week 2, signs and symptoms of adrenal health. The signs and symptoms can be wide and varied, so it's easy to feel that you are affected by adrenal depletion. I think that we all, to some degree, have tired adrenals, but true adrenal fatigue is actually quite uncommon. Clinically, it is called hypocorticolism, which means not enough cortisol. The most severe form of this disease is known as Addison's disease, which is extremely rare.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about my symptoms when I was going through adrenal fatigue. So on both blood and saliva testing, my cortisol was very minimal. I had zero testosterone and very little DHEA. I was having hot flushes at night time. I lost a lot of weight. I got down to around 49 kilos, but I lost a lot of muscle with that. And I was highly anxious and incredibly fatigued. Now, I put all of those symptoms down to being a new mum. Sophia was 10 months old. You know, she was a reflux baby. It was a tough first 12 months. And I just thought that that's what happens. That's how you feel as a new mum. Until at one point, something told me that there was something not right. So, and you know, it was interesting that I lost all my testosterone, my hair was dropping out, because don't forget your adrenals make the hormones DHEA and testosterone, as well as your stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. So once you've depleted your adrenals so much you can't make any more cortisol, you have to sacrifice your DHEA and sacrifice your testosterone to keep pushing more cortisol out. So for me, it was completely debilitating. So it's been a long road back.
And it's actually funny, Em, that you mentioned you put it down to being a first-time mum. We see a lot clinically, in clinic, we see a lot of women coming in who are really tired and exhausted and simply do put it down to being a first-time mum and often just want to see us for a few little tweaks here and there in their food changes, not realising they're actually on the borderline of adrenal fatigue. So they're at the end of that burnout phase.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to catch tired adrenals or burnout, which is depleted adrenals, before it goes across into adrenal fatigue, because the road back from true adrenal fatigue is long and hard. So this is what we're all about, is sharing our knowledge in order for you to catch and look after and nurture your adrenals now.
Okay, so typical signs and symptoms to look out for are the feeling of being extremely tired, especially in the morning, fatigue that's just simply not relieved by sleep. You may find it difficult to get a good quality sleep, so that can be trouble falling asleep or waking up early, especially at those times of like 4 or 5 a.m, just before the alarm's meant to go off, falling back asleep, and then the alarm goes off at 7 and you're out cold.
Yeah, typical symptom there. You can also have erratic blood sugar levels. You can crave salty, sweet foods. I mean, your libido goes. I mean, there's no wonder, right? When you're feeling tired and exhausted, the last thing you want to do is jump between the sheets.
Especially when your hair's going grey and you're possibly overweight.
That's right. It's not a good combination. At the far end of the spectrum, we have things like autoimmune conditions, we have allergies, you know, also the ability to either lose or gain weight, which you've got some good experience with, right?
Yeah, look, as a personal trainer, I often hear a lot of women talk about their high stress levels and the fact that this is influencing their weight gain. And they put this down to their elevated cortisol levels. So I actually do see the effects of having too much cortisol being released in the body, which is that excess abdominal visceral fat, which is the bad stuff. It's stuff that you don't want.
Absolutely, absolutely. But do you also think, on another hand, that women can use high cortisol as an excuse for weight gain too?
Oh, absolutely, of course.
Yeah. I just hear that all the time in clinic. You know, I'm retaining weight because my cortisol is high. Sometimes it's also about food and exercise and everything else, right? It's not just about high cortisol, which most of us have to some degree.
Yeah. So let's talk about how to diagnose. Adrenal fatigue is one of the most common underdiagnosed illnesses in Western society. It has been estimated that 80% of adults suffer some level of adrenal depletion. Luckily, a simple at-home saliva test can be used to help you discover whether stress is the true underlying source of your symptoms. This can be ordered by your naturopath and proves very useful to identify exactly where your cortisol levels lie and at what stage of adrenal exhaustion you are experiencing. Ensure you see a healthcare practitioner, be it a naturopath, nutritionist or general practitioner who is experienced in treating adrenal conditions. Just remember that blood tests only pick up Addison's disease, which is the extreme end of adrenal fatigue. what we hope to catch is adrenal fatigue before it gets to, you know, the top end, even catch it at burnout.
Yeah, look, it's such a good point. I mean, we do so much adrenal saliva testing in clinic, and it's almost that I sometimes use it as a screening tool to see where a woman is at on that spectrum, so that I can know how hard and fast we need to work with herbs or nutrients and lifestyle in order to catch her before she tips over the edge of adrenal fatigue. So make sure you utilize that test. It's not invasive. It's easy to be done by saliva. You know, contact Lauren or myself, and we'll be able to help you out with that. So let's look at the causes of what drives and causes adrenal fatigue. It's stress, but that stress can be emotional, mental, psychological, physical, any kind of stress. Now, the physical stress can include food intolerances or allergies, heavy metals, acute or chronic infections, pathogens like parasites, viruses, bacterial infections, candida, and also biochemical and nutritional imbalances. Now, for myself, I had a blood infection called mycoplasma. I had 2 parasites and then systemic candida. So in combination, these placed an enormous strain on my adrenals, which in combination with a newborn just completely tipped me over.
Nutritional deficiencies are also a common cause. When under stress, the need for nutrients is much greater, while their excretion is increased and the absorption has been compromised. This is tying back to what Em said before about high cortisol levels affecting our gut function. Again, we'll be touching on that in the gut health episode.
So that's it for this week. Now remember, if any of these symptoms are coming up for you, then please take action. Contact Lauren or myself to organise the saliva adrenal testing. You absolutely want to stop at burnout and avoid adrenal fatigue.
So that's it for week 1. Jump over to our Facebook page, like our graphic on adrenal health, comment one key learning point you learnt from today, and PM us your email address. We will send you an online adrenal test, and stay tuned for week 3, treatment options.
Look forward to seeing you again then.